everybody, welcome back to our channel Autistic Multiple Life. This channel was created to erase stigma around autism and dissociative identity disorder and other type of neurodiversities, and to make stigmatized identities, especially identities of people who is in intersection, more visible. And now I is now fronting I think Abu Hamza al-Muhajir, because I don't know who I am so I think it's me. Yeah, and I want to speak about higher education and school and all the system in society when people believe that you matter only if you have this kind of paper about your education. Okay, at first I want to start why I want to speak about it. I was reading this book on the Come Up by Angie Thomas, and I started to read it. Honestly, I don't know what would be in the end, but some stuff in the beginning was so like Ayman's experience in the past and experience of some of our friends, especially our neurodivergent friends. The main character in this book, I think she's not a typical girl. She wanted to be a rapper, a famous rapper, but her mom believes that grades in school is more important, and I have such feelings that maybe even after believing it. We have this situation, and this girl understands that, for example, her old brother, he have this high grades, he graduated from university and everyone was proud of him, but he still made pizzas, he couldn't find work, so she understands that all the stuff about school and academical success is not all that matter, and that her talent may be more important, and her ambitions and her willingness to sing. And I so understand her and understand this gaslighting that she's faced. In my situation, it wasn't because I have interest of some kind of how to explain it, stigmatized area. It was more because I was raised in typical Soviet academical social circles. My parents was engineers, they both have higher education, and my grandparents, and for them it was a big shame that their daughter or granddaughter, like they think that Ayman was a girl, wouldn't have this kind of high education. And Ayman, of course, was and still autistic person and part of the system. And when Ayman was at school, Ayman had this very strong OCD, and Ayman was faced with abuse every day in school and at home, and school wasn't inclusive at all. And the only stuff that helped Ayman to survive was the book that Ayman was writing. This dystopian novel series that Ayman was writing and inventing, and the dream involved that Ayman was creating this world about this book. But this literally was the only thing that saved Ayman from suicide. Despite that Ayman believes that suicide is a great sin, but it was all life was awful. Except this book, except that is dreaming. But in the same time, Ayman's father said that who would need your book if you wouldn't go to university? And maybe the most scary part of the story was that Ayman, I think, agreed with him. Ayman agreed with him only because Ayman couldn't imagine how they could stay in their house, in their family flat, if they wouldn't go to university. and where they would go, they would be homeless, they would need to run away or stuff like this, how they could survive, because for their parents it was a matter of honor. It was a matter of family honor, and Russian society, despite many stereotypes that Russian is more like Western culture, Russian society is deeply collectivistic, and individuals' ambitions or individuals' desires or interests, it doesn't matter for most of the people. And it was matter for Ayman, but Ayman just couldn't imagine what to do, because I don't know, this time Ayman couldn't even read properly or watch movies because of these deep OCD problems. Sometimes Ayman have more strong problems with executive functions that Ayman have now. Ayman have more strong problems with speech, and they just couldn't realize how they could survive by themselves without parents. But for parents it wasn't matter what Ayman really wanted, what Ayman really feels. Even when Ayman said that they have this OCD that prevent Ayman to pass exam, so Ayman's father said that it's because of the devil, and Ayman have this kind of OCD on prayer because Ayman is not pure enough. So they wouldn't go into help, and they would go into harm if Ayman wouldn't go to university. Yeah, and every time when we read or watch something when parents told their children they need to go to university, we feel this kind of anxiety, I think, and annoying, because we knew that what it's like, this kind of pressure. And I would say that yeah, Ayman would go to this university in Donetsk. After that, it was several months. Ayman passed out many times during lectures. I couldn't listen them, and have more psychological problems, more deep problems. And after that, Ayman would go to college in St. Petersburg for 2 months, and Ayman just go during these lessons. I started to cry. It was so full, and after that, it was third university. All of it was for free. So it's kind of Ayman have, I think, it's like kind of free scholarship in Western countries. In Russia, you could go for free or you could go for money. If you have good grades, pass exam good enough, you would go for free. So Ayman wouldn't pay for it. It was like their parents wanted. It was for free. But Ayman couldn't just stay here because their psychic was destroyed after school. And because in this kind of universities it was zero level of inclusion, and they don't really care about disabled students, they don't really wanted to make environment more accessible. Even when Ayman tried to do it, Ayman was ready to try to do inclusive environment in the campus, but they don't really want it. And yeah, it was terrible experience. In the end, for example, Ayman asked Lina to broke Ayman's leg just not to go to university. And this last university was the best one, so you could imagine what it was. But even in this time, it was so deep brainwashing about the importance of higher education that Ayman believes that it's not just Ayman's family. It would be in society, it would be in every workplace. People wouldn't think that you're a real human. People would consider you as a human if you wouldn't have this higher education. Honestly, one of the most outrageous news in our life, it was bullshit. It was completely bullshit. It's cool that it was bullshit, but it was so many years in school, in universities, that Ayman believes that it's important to have high grades. It's important to have high education. It's important to pass all these exams. It doesn't matter in real life. And I want to speak about it now because, yeah, it was times in Ayman's life when Ayman was that Ayman was paid by like a freelance journalist. Ayman get more money in the month that Ayman moms with this high education ever have. That Ayman's dad have most of his life. Ayman's dad couldn't have this money by writing. Yeah, Ayman don't have this kind of high education at all. Ayman, but Ayman, when Ayman could work, have this opportunity to work, Ayman could earn money. It wasn't because of education, it was because of writing. And yeah, and about book, Ayman continued to write this book, and this book still one of the most important stuff in their life. So Ayman was right. Ayman's parents wasn't right at all. And I want to speak about it because I was see so much misunderstanding even in feminism and LGBT community, especially in Russian language cultures, but sometimes even in UK or USA, that people with high education, it's 100% that people with high education would be more successful. In reality, many universities and colleges are just not inclusive. In Russia, they're all not inclusive, but even here, most of them, many of them, is not inclusive at all. And I think this kind of neurotypical privileges that helps stereotypical white, non-disabled men be successful in universities helps them to find job. It's not something that connected. It's more like two separate, one privilege, one norm, and people who more like in this norm, more successful in academia, and they're more successful when they try to find job. Because many times I notice that it's not really correlation in kind of how some person could work, or how some person could knew their topic, or stuff like that. Yeah, sometimes it could be correlation. For some people it could be correlation. For some people the universities and college really helps. But I am sure that for many neurodivergent people, especially for many autistic people, higher education is not something that was all this time, and especially it's not something that need to be kind of the main goal, I think, for many people, because just yes, if you have higher education, it's kind of good for respectability politics, but it doesn't worth to burn out, and after that wouldn't be able to do anything, or just go to this university and have suicidal thoughts. I don't think that it was it. In many type of work, like I don't know, journalism, IT, translator, many even academical stuff. It's more important to have kind of good qualification and good understanding, and it's not always that people who would to whom you are working would look at your diploma. And I don't know, in some cases it just doesn't matter at all, of course, or for example, if you want to have your own business, in many cases it doesn't matter at all. So if it's difficult to you to go to university, to go to college, or just remember that you have any other opportunities. And I'm really pissed off of all these leftists, especially in some leftist communities, that started to speak like if have higher education, it's like have kind of understanding of difficult topics, because honestly, no, everyone, when I seen even in these groups some articles that people write that it's just for people with higher education, only them could understand. I never see any correlation with understanding and higher education, really. I just don't know how people could just imagine it. And especially it's really pissing me off if even leftist people who need to check this kind of stereotypes and hierarchy just don't see it, and promoting this kind of toxic culture that higher education stuff like this matter, or grades in school. In school, really, it's even worse than in universities, because I never meet adult person who knew school program really good. It doesn't matter if this person is successful, is this person rich, or is this person poor. It doesn't matter. I never met a person who knew school program really well. And I never seen this correlation of grades and future. And I don't know. I so hate that I spent so much time in school doing stuff that I don't really need in my life at all. It was so many just pointless worries, and it was completely in this kind of environment. It wasn't for me. If I could choose, I would be in unschooling. Yeah, and even like this school system was appeared. It appeared because people need to do something with their kids and don't let their kids just go wild on the street. Adults need to go, I don't know, during industrial revolution they need to spend more time in the job place, and this new schooling system was invented, but in reality is so oppressed and so awful that we still have nightmare about school, and it's not just about bullying. So yeah, if you have problem in school, if you couldn't go to university, or if you have problem in university, just don't believe that it means something. Thank you so much for your attention. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to make it more visible. See you next time. Bye.